I'm just going to keep putzing and getting things organized while we're waiting for everybody to sign on. Let's see. So I thought I would start off just by a little bit of show and tell because we got some new papers in. So I thought I'd share these with you before we get into the demonstration. Let me grab my water. So, welcome everyone. So we definitely I have a lot to show you in a little bit. We'll be demoing some new products from Pink Fresh, but I wanted to share these. We just got these in. And I think these are all brand new. We got a replenishment of all our bills paper. So if we were out of it, we got them back in. So first of all, because I was kind of reminded that I didn't have that much in the Sabers. So we have Let's Go Buffalo in the Sabers color. And we have the Sabers with the little blue hearts. So these are new. And this is one that I've been wanting to do for a while. It says, My City Smells Like Cheerios. So this will be interesting and come up with a card. Maybe we'll have a challenge out there. But I don't know if you've ever gone on the Skyway when they're actually making the Cheerios. It really does smell. It smells delicious. It smells like Cheerios. So this is one for a little chuckle. And in the past, we've had the Bill's Mafia paper, but I believe somebody did the licensing, the trademark for Bill's Mafia. So we can't do Bill's and Mafia, but we can certainly kind of change it up. And so we have the Mafia words in the Bill's colors. And we just had to do it. Allentown. So we have Allentown with the little hearts. And then we have this version of Allentown. I think I got a couple of them, and I'm not sure which one I liked best, so we'll see which one's the better seller. And then we have Allentown, New York. And of course, this can also be used for the people that live in the city in Allentown. I think it's spelled the same. And because of so much that's going on and just what an amazing, strong city we have, people supporting each other, we got Buffalo Strong. And we have this version of Buffalo Strong. And this one I love. This is Allentown. Very cool. Very large. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll see what people come up with this one. And then we have the Buffalo Mafia. So these are all now available in the store. For those of you that live farther away or whatever, we will be putting them online and adding them to our exclusive collection. Okay, so I'm going to get started. The feature for tonight is this great new stamp from Pink Fresh. It's a plaid stamp. It has let me grab it. It has a stencil that can be used with the stamp. So I'm going to show you one way to use it. And there is another really cool stencil that it's a leaf stencil. It's a 4-part leaf stencil, and I want to go through and show you how to use this. So we have a lot to show you, so kind of sit back. So first of all, what I did is I stamped this and I heat set it because I'm going to be inking it right now. I just stamped it with my Hero Intensified Black ink pad. Used my Misty, put it in the middle. I did try putting it in the corner in that, and then it didn't clearly stamp one edge when it was too close to the edge. So by moving it in the center, I was able to get the whole design. Okay, so like so many companies, their stencils are labeled. This is Stencil 2 up in the top right-hand corner, if you can see that. It says Stencil 2. This one is Stencil 1, and this is Stencil 3. Now, when I did this, I just kind of played with it, and kind of did my own thing. There probably is a process to this. Like a series of steps, you know, going 1, 2, and 3. You can do it that way and then flipping it. I kind of just, you'll see a card that I did, and I love the way it turned out. I kind of played with 1 and then flipped it in the other direction, and did 2 and flipped it, and did 3 and flip it. So I don't know that there's any like particular rules. Let me grab some of my little tape, and we'll tape this in place. So there's a little corner registration mark, so that you want to get that lined up so that each piece is lined up when you're doing this stencil, or anybody's stencil, so that as you put your second and third layer stencil on, they all line up. The other thing I did is I kind of just went and made sure that my lines were even, because that's not totally perfect all the time. And I thought I might use this for a Halloween card, so I opted for orange. And I'm using one of my brushes and my IO inks. And you can use your oxides, you can use, you know, your distress inks, any of the ink pads that you have. I really love my IO ink pads. They're a hybrid. What you can't see is that when I first start, I have a very light hand, and then I'm always rotating my brush, and as I kind of get going, then I press harder down, so that way I'm not getting like a mark. So just keep going in a rotating motion, and you can make this as light or as dark as you want. I'm going to kind of leave it all consistent. So there is Stencil 1, and you can see how it actually lines up pretty perfect in there. Now you can see Stencil 2 if I line this up in the corner. This is if I want to change another color. I can do a lighter orange. I can use, you know, yellow maybe. Well, let's try yellow. I did bring yellow out, so we'll try it. And we gotta love the yellow tape from Spellbinders. You can use this over and over and over again. I think this is going to look like candy corn. So we have canary yellow and goldenrod. Let's use canary. And I'm pressing really hard into my pad. Oh, I need to kind of realign this a bit. And so when we remove this, definitely looks like candy corn. I'm going to leave that white. I think I like that white. The third would fill in that white section, and I want to leave that, so I'm going to disregard that. So now what I'm doing is I'm flipping. So you can leave it just like that, or you could flip it in the other direction and add more color. So let's just do that and see what we get. Making sure my corners are lined up. And I think I'm going to go back to the orange, but I'm going to go lighter. Let's see what happens. And remember, if you mess up, it's only paper. So I have a really light hand. The other thing is, if you choose, you don't need to do all the stripes. You can just pick a certain line that you want to do. So I think the more you play with the stencil, the more options you have, and it's just really cool. Different background papers that you can make. And then this is where you can kind of peek up and see what you got. And then let's flip this one and add another color and see what we end up getting. And this one, I'll do my yellow. And once again, I'll just go very soft with it. And there's our pattern paper. Yeah, so this is like perfect for fall. I mean, it just totally reminds me of like candy corn. So this is the new plaid stencil that works with the plaid stamp. And I'll have some samples to show you in a second. But while we're kind of all inking, I'm going to do the other stencil so you can see how the other leaf stencil works. And we had two new wonderful ladies that had just, for the first time, found the store on Saturday. And I believe it's Darlene and Marge. They were in, and hopefully they're on today watching, because they're like, okay, 7 o'clock, Facebook. So hopefully they'll find us. But anyways, I did a little demo in the store with this stencil because they weren't familiar with that. And Darlene kept saying, I would add red. And I was like, no, because it's not going to match the color palette I'm working for my samples for tonight. So to make her happy, I chose to do the leaves in these 3 colors. So this one is for you. Okay, so we have stencil. Let me get my numbers. This is stencil 1. Now, I do my stencils totally different than how they do. I really like to use my inks to define my designs. So I'm going to start with this yellow. And you'll see in the other ones that I did, I used 3 colors of the same, or 3 shades of the same color to just kind of get that depth instead of having a solid design. So I'm going to try the same thing but with adding red and orange in these. We'll see what we end up getting. Now when I add my orange, I'm not going to add orange everywhere. I'm just going to kind of pick and choose where I'm putting that so that you can see that I'll have multicolors in my design. And you can go and switch to your smaller brushes. When I did this, I just kept using my same large stencil brush. And here's the red. I love stenciling. Takes a little practice getting, you know, kind of the movement and the pressure. So we'll see what we have here. It's kind of like magic when you like lift it up. Look at those colors, how beautiful they are. I think I'm going to leave that because I like that. So now we're going to put stencil 2 on. And once again, I'm going to start back with my light color, my yellow. And go to my orange. And in this one, I think I'm just going to do yellow and orange. I'm not going to add the red this time. And you'll see in the end my reason for that. This will make the little veins. I don't want to go totally dark. I like kind of a soft look in the vein. And down in the base of those leaves, I'm just going a little heavier with my orange. So this way, all my leaves are not going to look the same. And then we have stencil 3. Whoop. So I'm going to start with the yellow again. The fall is like one of my favorite times of the year. So these beautiful oranges and golds and yellows are just loving it. Not that I don't like a nice kind of cool summer day, but there's nothing like, you know, the warm days and the cool nights. Now, once again, for these little stems, I'm not going to add a ton of color. I want kind of a light stem to show. And a lot of times when you're doing a stencil, you kind of have to play with the, you know, the first time around so you understand how the whole stencil works and the layers. So if you make a mistake, it's like I said, it's just paper. You can go back and do it over. And now we'll just add probably a little bit more red than I did in the others. And I actually have a little bit of brown, so I'm going to add a little bit of brown on this one. Kind of test to see what shade of brown I have. And if I want to add more brown to the other ones, I can always go back and add it. But I think the color palette will work. What we have here. So now we have this design. And what's really cool, what Pink Fresh did for this, these are just background pieces. Oh, I don't have it with me. It's somewhere. There is a die that fits on top of this that cuts all these leaves out in one piece, and in multiple pieces. So pretty much like their any of their flower stamps, or you know, you have the big die and you put it over, it cuts everything at once. So you don't need to line up all these little individual dies. Let me just see if I have it really. Oh, actually, here's one right here. Okay. So this lines up exactly on top of this. And let me just go over and die cut this real quick. So now you have all these beautiful leaf pieces. Don't forget, when you're done with your stencils, just use rubbing alcohol and a cloth to clean up the ink. It'll take all the ink off your stencils safely. And get in the habit of doing that. So now you have all these like beautiful leaves. The hybrid ink, The ink that I used here are the IO. I love these IO ink pads. I'm a full-size pad girl. I know a lot of customers like the smaller ink pads. For me, I prefer a large. I don't like dealing with those little mini pads. So we do carry these in the full size, and we also carry these. Now they have mini cubes. And I understand that a lot of people have a lot of inks already and you don't want to get into another ink, but I just love the way you could see how easily that these blended. Okay, so those are the leaves, and let's see what we did with some of the plaids and the leaves and some of the cards that we did. Move these out of the way. And I'll finish that. I'll do something with that card, but okay. So here is that plaid stamp, and what I did is I embossed it with gold embossing powder. So not everything has to be inked. You could stamp, you can emboss. So let me just put this card together using my Nuvo glue. I have my foam tape, and these are the low profile. Let me close this so this. One of the other new things that they came out, they kind of revamped the sunflower washi tape. The colors are bolder and richer, so that's what I'm using today on this particular card. So I have my base, and I have my plaid, which was embossed. I have one of my favorite dies from Pink Fresh, and this one is the Folk Edge Rectangle die. Comes in circles, I think, circles and a couple other designs. So I'm matting it with gold again. Let's put that in the center. And then this is one of the new washi tape. And there's lots of other pieces that come with that. The colors are just beautiful, just beautiful. The older one is a little softer yellow, where this is definitely like richer and more bold. So I'm also just going to use, to make a really fast card, they have the sentiments, which are already foiled. There is a new pack that are all gold, and then they have this combo pack that is gold and silver. And I happen to have this here, so I'm just going to use that. And because I pop everything. And that's why I use the low profile, so that my card's not super high. I think I grabbed the higher one for the center by accident. But by using the low profile, I can do like multiple layers. And we're just going to add our sentiment. The sentiment I'm going to raise a little bit higher so it pops from the sunflower. And then we have a super quick card. So we use that plaid die, which I embossed with gold embossing powder, and then just layered with gold cardstock, and use the new washi tape. card number 1. Here is another super fast card. We send out emails on a random basis when customers request kindness cards sent to various people for various reasons. They're not necessarily our customer. They're just somebody in need of cheering up, letting others know that they're being thought of, and it's just nice to receive a random card, kind of a random act of kindness. And we sent one out the other day, and this is a card that I'm going to be sending out tomorrow for a customer. So if you missed the email, go back, and if you have a card, you might have a card in your stash, just drop it in the mail, make somebody's day. And I will say that I have to post it, and I hope maybe we'll put it on an email. But this is one of the embossing folders from Gina K. One of our customers was in the hospital for quite a bit. She was sick for several months, and we did a kindness card email, and she received multiple cards. And being one of our customers, always sending cards to other people, she didn't know how much it meant to be the recipient of one of those cards. And it's going to make me cry. But when she was stuck in the hospital in ICU, and her family couldn't come to see her, and there was nobody around, she would periodically get cards that were sent to her from our customers. And she said that was like one of the most beautiful moments of her day, is getting those cards. And the fact that somebody took the time to send her a card, let alone write a little note inside, meant the world to her. And so kind of keep that in mind. If you have the time, whenever we send out one of those kindness cards requests, please drop a card in the mail, write a little note, because I don't think we realize the impact that we could have by sending that simple little card. But I will post the message that she sent. She just wanted everybody to know that. So anyways, this is going to go out to our latest kindness card person. So this was done with the hot foil. And what I wanted to show you with this card, it didn't take a lot of time. I had done a bunch of these sentiments earlier. I'm just going to use the new sunflower, just a piece of that little sunflower washi tape die cut. And I'm just going to add this little sprig underneath, and it's done. So I'm just going to write a little note inside for this lovely person and get this card in the mail tomorrow. So super fast, super easy. Used 2 little pieces of this little washi tape, an embossing folder, and if you have a stamp message, you can do a stamp message and whatever. So Judy, this is going out to your friend. Okay, so I have a couple other cards that I wanted to show you. So in these, I'll show you this card in a second. What I did is yesterday, last night, I did purple, and I did this green kind of color combination. And I wanted to pick colors that weren't traditional, like those orange, yellows, and browns and so on. I wanted to make a different color combination. And so I chose purple. And so these are some of the die cuts that I had done earlier. I picked a hello die, and on here, this is that plaid or the plaid stamp, and I just used white embossing powder. So I just did tone on tone. And of course, we're going to pop my base up. And usually this is how, I put my pop dots on. I always like to get the edges, the center, and then offset in the middle. I know there are some people, namely Judy, who uses a ton more than I do. Oh, I didn't know Alma was your sister. Well, I'm glad I made a special card for her. Okay. So we have the plaid on there, and I used the same two in the gold and then in the purple, and I kind of, staggered them a little bit. Just gonna set that over there. And I just have these like little random pieces. It was kind of fun doing different colors. We were talking about our first cards. And I remember the first card that I made. Excuse me. Remnants of being sick last week. My first card was an apple stamp directly in the center of this void of white paper. No matting, no layering, just flat, flat, flat. I wish I had that card because it just makes me laugh. So I think I've come quite a ways. Put a little pop dot over there. These I'm just gluing down. And then I have my hello. And I did stack this. I did 3 layers. Just because it was kind of thin in certain areas. And so there's another card done with the purples. And let me show you the inks that I used for this one. Let me go grab the colors. So the yellows and golds in here were the Pink Fresh yellows and golds. I did that one at excuse me, at the store. And these were the purple IOs. I actually used some of the orchid. I don't know if you can see there's different shades. I did the purples and the orchid colors. So these were the colors that I used in that particular card. And I have one more card to put together. So in this one, we've gotten some new Catherine Puller inks in, and I don't have anything in this color palette, and so these are kind of the colors that I used in this particular background. So the ink that I used on the back was the darkest color. I stamped it in the Daydream. And that was the only time that I used that. And then I really just kind of played with the colors. So when I did these, I did use all 3 stencils. I did stencil 1, and then I flipped it the other way and did it again backwards, stencil 2, stencil 3. And so this is what I ended up coming up with. And I love it. I mean, it just really kind of cool. Oh, how do I store my inks? I have ink, oh gosh, I think it's from Stampin' Storage. They have different, they almost look like, remember how we had the cassette tapes? Those little cassette tape storage units, they're little boxes. And I store my inks in there. So I have my IO inks in one, I have my oxides in one, my Distress, and my Hero Arts. All my other inks, kind of random like these, I'm just starting to collect. I'll probably take some of the colors out of one of the units that I don't use as often and put these in, because I'm liking the Catherine Polar because I love their color palettes. So I have those inks on my wall, against the wall in my workspace. So, but right at my table where I work all the time are my IO inks, because these are my go-to inks. Okay, so we have this background, and what I wanted to show you too is this is the one that I did with white embossing powder, and I used like the hot tub and the skylight. On the top half, I used the hot tub over here with my ink blending brush, and the color is just definitely softer. And then I went and added a little darker so you can see the graduation of color. And on this side, I used the same colors again, but this time I used my ink blending tool, and you can see that you pick up a lot more ink with your ink blending tool than you do a brush. And then I went with the skylight on the end. So both products will work. I tend to like a softer look, and especially for the things that that I'm working on, like a lighter palette. But sometimes you do want that deep, dark, bold, and that's where I would go with this tool versus a brush. Okay, so I have my base. Now, this is the higher profile, not what I would typically use, but it's here at my workspace. So I'm going to put this down. And you can do it flat. It's just a personal kind of thing. I'm all about textures and layering. Okay, so I have that on my card base. And on this one, this is, I don't remember the name of the die, and I didn't grab the packaging, but I love this layer die. This is from Honeybee, and I know we have them in the store. I'm going to put that on, and these are the Catherine Polar green inks, the same colors that are in that background plaid. And I kind of just anchored that earlier. So let me adhesives. It's kind of fun, you know, using different colors and, you know, and try. Like, I typically would not use these colors, but I was like really drawn to them. I loved them. I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do this week on Facebook. And just add a little pop dot there. Let's move it over a touch. And then what I did, oh, it's right here. For the purple hello, and then the die that I'm using on this card, I just took my ink pads and just swiped it so that the colors would match. Everything would coordinate, and then I die cut my sentiments. And now the colors will match. And there's that card. I do have adhesive on the back of this. I don't know if I could peel it off right now. Oh, it's sticking. And I'll do the little U later. So these are the cards that I wanted to share with you tonight. So we basically, the focus was the pink fresh plaid stamp, the plaid stamp, where we stamped it in an ink. We used white embossing powder. We used gold embossing powder. We added some of the sunflower washi tape products. On those cards. On this particular one, we used the white embossing powder with that plaid background. So we kind of, you know, it just kind of creates texture. Like I said, love texture, and it doesn't take away from the design. You could add colors if you want. You know, you can do a light purple somewhere in that plaid. That probably would look really pretty too. On this one, we stenciled the whole background in that monochromatic color palette from Catherine Puller. And then we used the leaf stencil in die cut from Pink Fresh. Coming in, they also have another leaf stencil that creates a border. It doesn't die cut out. You would do it right on your card. We'll be getting that one in. When I saw this one, the fact that I can die cut and stencil those leaves, I was just so like drawn to it. And then you could go crazy and add a ton of different colors, you know. So it's like one of those stamps and stencils that are like endless. You could just create a bunch of beautiful designs. And, you know, if it's something that you end up really not liking, by the time you cover up and just use a little area, it takes on a totally different look. So it might be something initially you didn't like what you did, but you can put it together and create, you know, some really nice designs. And then I have all these extra little leaves, parts and pieces that I can go and I can make another card. Because, you know, sometimes you're making a card and you need like a little element to add to it. I save all these little pieces in a container. I have a lot of die cut pieces, and I kind of remember everything I have, so I know it's in that box. So anyways, anybody have any questions? This Saturday, I'm actually not going to be around. So I'm taking the Saturday off, and I'm heading out to Syracuse and spending the weekend with my daughter. So if I do a Facebook Live, it is going to be from a big flea market that's going out down that way. So I think I will. If I come across something really cool, I will do a random Facebook post. So I forgot that, I don't know if it's called Bookaville. Robin, you might be familiar with it. It's out in Canandaigua area. So I'm going to be looking for lots of fun things. The stamp and die that I used, it's Pink Fresh's plaid stamp. I don't know if I don't have the packaging, I don't think. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going down and, Dainty Plaid is the name of the stamp. Yeah, Bookaville. Yeah. Dainty Plaid is the name of the stamp that I used. And then it's probably Dainty Plaid Stencil. And I will tell you that we sold a lot in the store today because I was showing the couple ladies that came in, and everybody bought one. So, yeah, the Bookaville, we went a couple years, or many years ago, and we had a really nice time. So I will be looking for treasures. And then I can do some show and tell to show you what I found. So, and I don't know if I told you guys, but my daughter Caitlin is pregnant. So we're thrilled. Her and Dave, this is their first. She's 21 weeks pregnant, and we're just really excited. So I haven't seen her in a little bit, so hopefully she has a little pop going on, and so it'll be really good to spend them. Oh yes, Dawn, I forgot to tell you. Yep. So they're absolutely thrilled, and so are we. So we will have a third grandchild, and we actually know it's a boy. So this will be the first, let's see, my mom had 2 boys and 2 girls. I had 2 girls. Jess had 2 girls. So we're really excited that Caitlin's going to have a boy. So his nickname is going to be Manny. So it's baby Manny. And yeah, so we're thrilled. I'm just really happy. So her due date is December 28th. And in fact, the reason I didn't say anything is because Honeybee had a new release of a lot of baby stuff, and that was my plan one Wednesday night, is to kind of do some baby cards and things and kind of announce it that way. But then, life gets in the way, and last week I got sick, so I couldn't do anything, and nor did I feel like doing anything. But so anyways, we're totally excited. Mark is already planning all the things he's going to do with the little boy. Not that you can't do them with the little girl, but he's totally excited. So I think that's it. I don't see any questions or anything. We'll have these cards up in the store on Friday, because tomorrow is my day off. And so I'll bring these in. So if anybody comes in and you want to see the finished cards, they'll be with the product in the store. And if we do sell out, I have reordered, because after playing with this, I love it. And I know that you guys will too. So if we run out, we'll put your name in the special order book, and you'll get first dibs at the next order that comes in. But we do have some available in the store now. So that's it for me for now. So everyone have a wonderful night. I got a half hour to clean up before I do my Zoom tonight with my group. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate all you guys out there. Have a lovely evening. Take care. Don't forget those random cards, the kindness cards, guys. So go back and read your emails. I appreciate that. Bye.